Hi and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with another deck tech. Today's deck tech is one of the legends from Baldur's Gate. It's been one I've been thinking about for a while. I'm still not sure it's going to be great, to be perfectly honest, because of what it needs, and there's just not that many available on MTGO at the moment. But there's a couple of cards I'll also talk about that probably should, well, at least there's definitely one card that should be in the deck, but I'm not paying for it on MTGO. So if you're building this in real life or you've got it, you'll need to add that card in. But for the meantime, today's deck tech is all about Gorion, the Wise Mentor. So green, white and blue for a 3/4 legendary human wizard. With vigilance, which is quite nice, and it's got the ability of whenever you cast an adventure spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Now, obviously, adventure spells, Throne of Eldraine, and so on and so forth, have all been around. They've been kicking around for a while. There's a few more coming through on MTGO at the moment, coming through with Baldur's Gate, but some of them are a bit pricey still. So, what I will say is take this with a pinch of salt. If you're playing on MTGO, this is how I would build a deck at the moment. I may update it as more cards become available or prices go down and whatever happens. If you're building it in real life, do look at some of the adventure cards that are available from Baldur's Gate. There are some really nice ones out there that could possibly help you out. I'll probably just flash through a few of them up at the end of this video, just so you've got an idea of what I'd actually do if I was doing this in real life. But anyway, let's get on with the deck. We've got, because we're on this set of colours, we're on Bant colours. We do have some creatures that come through on this, but we'll go with, yeah, the lands are pretty much there. I just grabbed anything I fancied for this. Obviously I've got my usual two that everyone's used to me seeing now: Fabled Passage, Field and the Command Tower are all in. I've added Gavity Township, and there's a reason for this which I'll get into in a little while. And then just multicolour stuff, including the Snarls, a couple of the temples, yeah, and Sparta's headquarters. So I've got one of them. If you've got these, they're really good to play. Just put them in when you've got the colours right for them. So the actual deck itself is literally built around adventure cards. There's a few exceptions. Obviously I've got my usual bit of ramping here. Mana Crypt may be out on this deck. This is one of the cards I'm not sure about. I've put it in because some of the other adventure cards aren't available, and this would be one of the cards I'll take out for one of the cards I'm going to talk about at the end. So ignore, after that, Sol Ring. There's a lot of talk at the moment about Sol Ring doing this, Sol Ring doing that. My personal opinion is Sol Ring's coming in all the pre-con decks. Play Sol Ring. It's just there. So it's worth getting hold of one on MTGO in any way you can at all. Beyond that, Arcane Signets here: Marble Diamond, Moss Diamond, Sky Diamond, Chromatic Lantern and Solemn Sin. They tend to be my go-to ramp, along with Cultivate that's sitting over here. So there's some of the ramp, but what everyone's here for is to look at the adventure spells. So let's go through the adventure spells I've put in the deck. Then I'll talk about the other choices in the deck, and then I'll go through some of the things I would do if I was building this in real life. So we'll start over here. Flaxen Intruder's in. Yeah, okay, it's 1 mana for a thing you can sacrifice to destroy an enchantment or an artifact. That's fine. You can play an early game, or you can wait until you ramp up to 7 mana and get the bear token, send it on an adventure, then play it. So it's a fairly well-rounded one. Merfolk's Secret Keeper, it's not great, I'm aware of that, but it does mill 4 cards. It could help if your opponent's stacking the top of their library and you don't want them to get whatever they've just stacked on top of their library. And at the end of the day, if the worst comes to worst, it's a 0/4 and it blocks stuff, and it'll be there for a little while. Giant Killer is a bit of a no-brainer in this deck. You do get big creatures in Commander, we all know this. So getting rid of that creature that's got 4 greater power for 3 mana is pretty good. And then, you can play it and tap everything down and really upset your opponent, which is great. Likewise, Fairy Guide Mother is a 1/1 flyer for 1. Or, if you do the adventure bit first, which I recommend you do with Gorion because you want to copy it, you can give your target creature, if you've got Gorion out, something like +4/+2 and flying twice. Obviously the flying twice is irrelevant, but the +4/+2 might really help in some situations. Shepherd of the Flock's in. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. It bounces your stuff, it saves them for 1 mana. And if you got Gorion out, it saves 2 things, including Gorion. Don't forget, you can bounce it, it'll copy, and you can target Gorion as well, so it does work. Silver Flame Squires here. It's again a fairly weak creature, but giving something +2/+2 and untapping it to the end of turn can save some other things. Hypnotic Sprite is one I'm happy with. Early gills gets to 3 mana. You can counter anything your opponents are casting that costs 3 or less. After that, you've got 2/1 flyer for 2 blue mana, which isn't the end of the world. Curious pair. The food tokens could be useful. There's a reason I've got this in here. 1/3 body's not great, but the food token could help you, and it only costs a green mana, so what are you losing? Not a lot, really. Where are we going next? I'll come back to some of the cards. There you go. Ardenvale Tacticians here. 1 and a white to tap a couple of creatures at someone's combat that might save you for a turn. Then for 3 mana comes down as 2/3 flyer, which is fine. Animating Fairy turns one of our artifacts, and we've got quite a few in here, turning in a mana crypt into a 4/4 creature for 3 mana is quite good, and having a 2/2 flyer is okay. Queen of the Ice, tap something down for a turn. Obviously when it gets through with the combat damage, it also does it again, so it's probably one of the better adventure cards, to be fair, especially if you've got Gorion out. Lovestruck Beast is a no-brainer in this deck. It really is. Having all those +1/+1, you get a 1/1 human for 1 green, and then get the 5/5 down. We haven't got many 1/1s. We've got a few. Sorry. You've got a few, which I'll come back to and talk about in a minute, but it helps. Rosethorn Acolyte is really there just to fix your mana in the early game and then become a tapper at the end of it. Again, probably not going to be great, but at the end of the day, it does some work for you. Gorion Precarver's in here. Give another pump spell for a creature with adventure speed and becomes a 3/2. Again, not the best set of stats in the world, but we'll deal with it. I have added in Monster Manual. This came in from Baldur's Gate as well, and it seemed like a reasonable card to put in at this stage. 3 mana, you mill 5, and then return a creature milled this way to your hand. So it does let you go out and search stuff, and then you can pay 1 and a green and tap it. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Notice it doesn't say at a sorcery speed or anything else at any time, so it's actually really a lot better than it seems. We'll come back to some of the other. Oakheim Rangers in here. It does give us another couple of 1/1s if we've got a problem, get something killed, so we can't attack with our very, very nice Lovestruck Beast. That's the phrase I'm looking for, sorry. And at the end of the day, it also becomes some way of pumping your creatures, so it helps. Sorry, frog in my throat. Moving on from there, learn some unicorns here. You get your 2/2 human knight, and then you get your 3/3 vigilance unicorn as well. It costs a lot of mana, but at the end of the day, remember Gorion, you really want to start playing these when Gorion's out, you get double the value. So 3 mana for 2/2 knights with vigilance sounds pretty good to me, to be fair. Pegasus Guardian is also a new card from Baldur's Gate. Exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under control, and then at the beginning of your end step for a permanent you control, if the battlefield is turned, create a 1/1 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Seemed like a cunning plan to me. And then the final one that we're playing is the final 2 adventure cards. Realm Cloak Giant, blow the world up. We know what it does. 5 mana, destroy everything that isn't a creature. And then you get to bring it back as a 7/7 Vigilance Beater, which seems like a good idea. And obviously Beanstalk Giants here. Early doors, hopefully we go on out, go and fetch a couple of basic lands, put them into the battlefield, and then its power and toughness when you cast it is each equals the number of lands you control. Right, so there's a couple of support cards that came in with Throne, which I have put in the deck. I think I slipped over one earlier. Edgewall Innkeeper's here, you might as well have that to help you draw your cards, and also Lucky Clover's in here. and you get to copy your adventure spell. So if you've got this in play and Gorion, don't forget you're getting 2 copies of your adventure spells as you play it, so it's worth having them in here. Likewise, Wandermare's in here. It gets bigger as your creatures come into play that you've cast with the adventure side, so that sounded like a good idea to me. There's something else I was going to talk about, I can't remember what it was now. Forgotten where I put it now. Okay, I can't find it in a minute and talk about it in a minute when my brain wakes up. Sorry, still a little bit tired. I've been a little bit quiet because it's early in the morning. My wife's still asleep, so apologies for that. Obviously, I looked at this. This is one of the reasons we've got Gorion Township in here. A lot of the creatures you're going to be casting aren't particularly great. They're a little bit expensive for what their stats are, but once you get the mana going, Gorion Township makes them quite threatening quite quickly. One of the other cards I've included I want to talk about is Authority of the Consuls. You're going to be coming up against people who are playing really fast creature decks. This slows them down a bit and gets you a bit of life, which is good. Likewise, Condemns in here is some removal. Path to Exile's in here also is some removal. You could change Condemn or Path to Exile's the Swords the player shares. It's up to you. I just picked these 2 because they were the first 2 I picked up when I put it together. So if you want to change them, feel free. Prosperous Innkeeper's here. Obviously comes into play, gives us a treasure token, helps us when we start playing some of our creatures so we can actually get some life back. Likewise, Sylvan Caryatid is just purely in the deck because it's hexproof. Yes, it taps for mana, which is great, helps us speed up. We've got quite a lot of stuff further up the curve, as you can see, but having that hexproof, very hard to remove mana ramp's really good idea at the moment. I'm still trying out Halo Fountain. I still haven't done the win by getting 15 creatures to untap. I'll keep trying it. I put it in this deck really because it does give you some blockers, and you do get tapped creatures in this deck. And if you can untap them to draw a card, it sounded like a good plan to me. Cultivator mentioned. Growing Rights of Ilmatech. You do want to be digging down. Growing Rights will find one of your creatures, will find one of your adventure creatures, if you want to call them that. We'll also get some of the other creatures you're looking for, so I figured I might as well give it a try in here. Likewise, Hidana's Climb. It helps pump up those weak creatures you've been casting that have got adventure spells on them, and eventually it becomes a flipped land, gives you mana of any colour, which helps with this deck because it's 3 colours obviously, and then you can pay the 1, the green and the blue, tap it, and target creature you control gets a flying, the +6/+6 where it exits its power. So that's why that's in here. Because we had a lot of Throne of Eldraine cards in, I chucked in Oko. You don't have to have Oko, but there's another reason for it. Likewise, it's Bant colours. Broker's Ascendancy seemed like a natural inclusion in this deck. Yes, it put a loyalty counter on Oko, it put +1/+1 counters everywhere, so it seemed like a good plan. Because we've got Oko, because we've got Prosperous Innkeeper, and over here I've got Bootlegger's Stash as well, which if you remember is from New Capenna, and you tap your lands to create a treasure token. I have put in Academy Manufacturer in this deck. I thought it might be a good idea to try it out and see if we could get that to work in this deck. It works in some of the other decks I've played recently, and this seemed like a good place for it. Get this into play, get the Bootlegger's Stash into play. You're going to be creating a food, a treasure and a token each turn. And any of the other cards that give you food or treasures that we talked about earlier, if you cast them while you've got this out, obviously you get that as well, so it does help. I've put Mangara the Diplomat in. It gives you a little bit of life gain, but you are going to find yourself under attack, and if you're getting attacked by 2 or more creatures, you're going to get to draw. When someone casts their second spell, which happens quite regularly in Commander, you'll get to draw a card, so there's that. Depopulate's just in here. We've got a few multicoloured permanents that if we do destroy, we get to draw the card, but it gives us a kind of wrath effect, which is nice. Talked about Monster Mania. I've put the Rejuvenator in. This is in here really to help with the mana ramp. I mean, we're playing 4 forests, 4 islands, 3 plains in this deck as things stand at the moment. You can change that around if you want to play more basics, take out some of the dual lands I've put in. The deck list will be down below, so you can load it up while you listen to me talking about this if you want to. I figured we'd put this in. There's another reason for it, which I'll come on to in a second. I've put Ephara, God of Polis in. It helps with the card draw. You want to be drawing your cards. You want to be doing the things you need to do to get through your deck. So, and at the end of the day, we should be able to trigger and turn into a 6/5 beta at some stage, which is quite good. Lenore's in here. It's not a +1/+1 theme deck, but I wanted another way of pumping the creatures up that are fairly weak. I decided Lenore was the best way to do this, so that's why they've appeared. Likewise, Lithoform Engine's in here. I've been looking at this deck. You're going to get quite a lot of mana quite quickly. So if you are doing things, you can copy stuff. Yeah, okay, it's only 1 copy a turn, but 2 mana, and if you've got Gorion in play, Lucky Clover in play, you could copy another adventure card. Get 4 uses out of that adventure card as it comes in play. Again, it's a test card, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Yeah, right. Cleansing know that just in case there's any. It gives you another version of wiping the board away with creatures, but also if you've come up against some decks that are playing lots of artifacts and enchantments, it gives you a way of getting rid of all those things that are annoying you while keeping all your creatures in play. Likewise, Mirari's Wake's in here, pumps the creatures, helps with the mana. Broker's Confluence is just a card I put in just to try out, really. You can proliferate, if you've got lots of +1/+1 counters around, proliferating 3 times, give all your creatures an extra +3/+3 counter seems like a good idea. Or maybe you need to save one of your creatures and phase it out, or there's something that's going to trigger and kill you, so you can counter that. But I think it's probably the proliferate thing that we're going to be using mainly with this deck. Chillane seemed like a no-brain includer in this deck to me, purely because you will be casting creature spells, you get to draw a card, get to ramp your mana, and if the worst comes to worst, you can pay 3, bounce the creature back to your hand, which, to be fair, with some of the creatures that have the adventure side, ain't the worst plan in the world, believe it or not, so that's why Chillane's in there. Pegasus Guardian we talked about. Consecrated Sphinx, yeah, just draw your cards. I'm in blue, might as well play it. We talked about the Tree Folk. Amaranth's in here as well. You can play stuff. It might be a good idea to look at the top card of your library and get some more extra things in your hand, but at the end of the day, it's a 6/6 flying blocker. It seemed pointless not playing it. One of the other win conditions in the deck is Approach of the Second Sun. You have got plenty of ways to draw cards. You could probably get down to it, and at the end of the day, even if it does get exiled, having the 7 life might save you in some instances, but it is your backup win condition because you want to be doing it with the creatures and the spells you're going to be casting. Likewise, Hydroid Crassus in here just to help with your card draw. I have realised I will change. It's not on the screen at the moment. I don't think I put it in anyway. No, it didn't. Actually, there's Reliquary Tower is in there. So you have got Reliquary Tower in the deck. I didn't think I put it in, but I did do it before I started recording. The card draw you're going to be getting, you might as well keep the Reliquary Tower in. And Hydroid Crassus at the end of the day is a really good card. Right, so that's how I'm going to be playing this deck. This will be the deck list in the link below. But what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to pause the recording for a second while I set something up, just to show you some of the other cards I think you should be looking at playing in the deck. Okay, I'm back again. So obviously the most common one that you didn't see in the deck that probably should be in the deck if you own one is Brazen Borrower. It's a fantastic card. Unfortunately on MTGO at the moment it's 30 odd tickets. I'm not prepared to pay 30 odd tickets for a Brazen Borrower. Even the not foil one's more. The foil one's actually slightly cheaper than the non-foil one over here, but I'm still not paying for it. I haven't put Fire Wishes in purely because you need to go and find a creature you own from outside the game. I'm not 100% sure of it. Let me go and get stuff back from the graveyard, so I've left it out. Horn of Valhalla, if you have one, is fantastic. I did look on trading for one off one of the traders on here. Couldn't find one for sale. I suspect when I do it'll be really expensive. It is available because it's not highlighted in red, as you can see. But if you've got one in real life and you're building this deck in real life, you need this card in your deck. It's crazy. Creating all those 1/1 white soldier tokens and then you're pumping them up somehow. Yeah, definitely get it in. And if you get to copy it with this guy, it's even better. I'm sorry, this is a little bit awkward doing it this way, so again, Sonic Pulse is one of the Dragon Adventures from the new set from Baldur's Gate. Couldn't pick one up for the deck. I would play one in the deck on MTGO if I could. Whenever it attacks or blocks, it gets to scry, and you get to pay a little bit of mana to counter a spell. Notice this though, one thing I will say about these is the adventure side's the dragon side, just so we're clear, and then you get to do the counter spell from exile. Be careful of them. Likewise, rob the hordes there, same reason, so be aware of it, okay? Assuming I've got my maths right anyway, because I have changed how the cards lay out, as you can see from here to here. Where are we? There, yeah. So I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work with these, but if someone wants to comment down below in the video, really appreciate it. What else did I not play in this deck? Obviously, capsizing waves from the new set as well. You get to bounce something and then maybe cast a creature as well, so that's not the end of the world. Colossal badgers, not the worst thing to have either. And young dragon is pretty good. You know, this one's interestingly in the right way, so the sorcery comes first. So 1 blue and 1 to draw a card, then scry 1, then draw, and then you can pay 4/5 later on for a 3/3 fly. It's not the worst card in the world to have, but there's some of the other cards I would definitely look to be including within this deck. So just to give you an overview. But anyway, thanks for coming and watching this. Really appreciate you being here. The deck list, like I say, is down below with all the other information on where to find me on Twitch. I'm still streaming on a Tuesday and a Thursday night and trying to do Sundays when I can. But definitely Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm playing Commander. Tuesday night is anything goes. I'll just load a game up. Anyone who's online, come and join us. Thursday night is really going to be going back to the people who follow me on Twitch, have added me on MTGO as well, so bear that in mind. That may change if no one's around, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching this, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.